Kansas City, where the 11-5 Chiefs are going to be taking on the 10-6 Raiders. Back with me as is usual for this game, at least, is CP.
What's happening?
The owner of the Steelers. And CP, this game has some pretty good implications for you coming up this week as well. Not only does it affect, obviously, the teams that are playing. One of them will be going home. The other one will be playing in the next round. But you'll know who you're playing, or at least you'll know which game who you're playing comes from after this game ends. Because if the Chiefs win this game, they will be going to Pittsburgh to play you guys in week 2 of the AFC playoffs. And if the Raiders manage to pull it out, Oakland will go play New England, and then Kansas City will host the winner between Houston and Baltimore, which is the other AFC game happening this week.
Man, I'm not pulling for anybody. Anybody is welcome in Pittsburgh. We've had a great year on our end. We've had the number 1 ranked defense in the league. And, it's exciting to get to the divisional round, but, best of luck to these guys battling out. And I want to see both teams, whoever I play, whoever comes down, at full strength. Playoffs are going to be fun.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and they're going to be a lot of fun, especially for me, because I don't really have a dog in this race, so I just get to enjoy some good football, and that's going to be nice. I don't have to worry about the nerve-wracking, am I going to get a home game? Am I going to have to go to New England? Am I going to have to do this? Am I going to have to do that? I don't have to do anything. All I have to do is say what I'm seeing. So
the Raiders could get a little tuck rule revenge with the win today. They'll travel over to New England and play Tom Brady and the Patriots, who, man, Tom Brady had an excellent year. The owner, Iceberg, over there really had him throwing some nice balls, broke the passing yardage record. I believe it's 5,300 yards roughly in the air, and he had McCourty on the other side breaking the interception record. So that was a very good team up in New England. So it would be nice to see a little underdog go there and try to battle it out with them.
Yeah, they did win 14 games this year, and that's obviously not easy to do in any league or division. Well, looks like we may have some action going on here, and the game may be getting started pretty soon. So we'll go over the AFC standings. Pittsburgh won your division, the AFC North, with a record of 14-2, I believe, right?
That is correct.
I have here 13-2, but you won in week 17, so
yeah,
and so consequently, Baltimore, that drops their record down to 11-5. That's the first wild card team in the AFC, and as I mentioned earlier, they're playing the AFC South champion Houston Texans this week. We'll have to see what happens during that game, and that'll round out our playoff matchups here. Yeah, certainly going to be an interesting game today. One thing that I want to look for is how are the Chiefs going to respond if the Raiders manage to stop Raheem Mostert. He led the league in rushing this year by, I want to say like 19 yards or something. He just barely edged out Matt Breida. He's obviously a huge part of their offense, but they also very obviously have a lot more to work with because Patrick Mahomes, as productive as Mostert has been, Patrick Mahomes has been almost 3 times as productive, throwing for over 3,300 yards. He only has 1 rushing touchdown, but he's got 38 through the air. So
now, don't let that 1 rushing touchdown, throw you off. Man can scoot, and if he breaks the pocket, not only can he kill you with his arm, he can make any throw in the game, but man, he can burn you on your feet too. So let's see if the Raiders have an adjustment for that. If Revo decides to really do that.
Yeah, it really does seem like. Whoa.
Someone's excited.
Whoa, what was that?
Love it.
Somebody's hijacking our broadcast here, but here we go.
It's anonymous.
Yeah, apparently. I guess so. All right, boys. Well, here we go for the start of the game. We're going to send you down to the field right now for me. The third meeting between two teams is always fun to watch, and this one should be no exception. An old, intense rivalry makes its third installment of the year and gets some new life in the playoffs here as the Raiders come into Kansas City and take on the Chiefs. So I got my partner CP with me, and CP, what do the Raiders need to do in order to have a chance to win this game here today and stop the Chiefs' high-powered offense?
They need to score right back, keep them off the field, because that is Rebel's strong suit. Although they do have big players on defense as well on Kansas City side, look for Raiders to try to play a lot of offense and win the time of possession battle.
All right, well, the kick is up, and we got to get this broadcast underway. So from everybody here at Arrowhead Stadium, thank you guys for watching this game, and let's get it on.
Welcome to Week 18, Wild Card Weekend. Let's go. Look for the Raiders to establish the ground game early. Get Josh Jacobs going. You didn't win Offensive Rookie of the Year for no reason.
All right, well, here they are with Josh Jacobs handing it off to him up the middle from the 25-yard line. A gain of 1 yard on that play. So we're going to start it off with a pretty good defensive stop here by Kansas City, and that segues into our first topic nicely. Chris Jones on the Kansas City Chiefs led the league in sacks this year. And what can we expect to see from that Kansas City offensive line and really front seven?
You talking about the defensive line? They get after you. Frank Clark had 12 sacks, so they can get you up the middle and on the edge. See if the Raiders' offensive line can hold up.
See if they can. Now here's Derek Carr rolling out to the right, throwing over the middle, complete for Waller for the first down.
Here we go.
Man, what a story Waller is. He battled that addiction a few years ago when he first came out, and he's got his life together, and he's just been an impact guy for the Raiders. Not only on the field, but also off. He does a ton in the community, so excellent to see him off the schneid.
And you always like to hear stories like that. It's a very relatable story, a human interest piece, and it's also really inspiring for athletes around the world too. But whether you're an athlete or not, you can definitely take something from Waller's story. Here's the snap now from Carr. He throws it over the middle, and it's bobbled, tipped up into the air, and almost intercepted. Luckily for the Raiders, it falls harmlessly to the ground. It'll be 2nd down and 10 to go.
Kansas City's defense, they swarm to the ball, and you can see that, evident right there. The ball's in the air. They're going to have some guys around it. So hopefully that doesn't bite open in the rear going forward.
Yeah, I'm sure they're hoping that that's not the case. As they hand it off now to White Jr. up the middle for a 5-yard run.
White Jr. was signed off the Steelers practice squad this year, and he was a very nice fill-in, for Josh Jacobs going down. He had a couple huge games, and he actually is a better complement than a lot of other running backs out there to Josh Jacobs' running style.
We mentioned Josh Jacobs' injury. We're going to talk more about that after this play here. So the Raiders now, it's 3rd and 4. They're on their own 44-yard line. They're lining up in the shotgun formation with 5 wide now that White's moved out to the line. Here's the snap now. Carr working under the shotgun, getting some pressure, throws it, and it's picked off by Fuller. Fuller's going to take it down the sideline and get some yardage here across the 30, the 25-20. He's going to make his way to the end zone for a Chiefs touchdown. And just like that, Kansas City goes up 6-0. First drive of the game, they make a pick 6, and they've done it a few times earlier in the year. They continue their trend of excellent defense and take the lead early. They go up 7-0. The kick is good. And just like that, the Raiders find themselves in a little bit of a hole early.
It looks like Derek Carr held onto the bar just a little too long there. He had a few options, and the D-line ended up collapsing the line, forcing him to get hit while he threw, and Kendall Fuller, easy pick 6.
We'll see if Derek Carr can shake that one off here. He has been very good for the Raiders this year, throwing for over 4,000 yards. And he only threw 24 picks, which seems like a lot. Compared to his touchdown, 36-24, it's not a great spread, but he definitely did have more touchdowns than picks by 50%. So we'll see if he can go ahead and get one of those on the board for him now. I'm sure the Raiders would be willing to forgive a touchdown if he went and put a couple more up on the board here. Now here's White Jr. running to the outside, making a couple guys miss, and then he jukes right into the defender. Looks like he had a little bit of room, but he made the move just a bit too early, and still had a nice run there, a decent gain, a 1st down. And the ball gets to midfield.
I think that's Ward made the tackle. He could have just kept running by him. If he just keeps running and doesn't make that juke move, he probably scores a touchdown.
Yeah, I don't know what he saw there on the field, but, I thought he was gone myself. But either way, it's a 1st and 10 from the 50. Now here's Jacobs running to the left side. He gets just about nowhere.
there is some good movement on the Raiders' offensive line when they run the ball. Just the backs have to be a little more decisive in getting through the right holes because their holes are there.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they've been there all year. Jacobs, in the 11 games that he played, he averaged 100 yards per game.
Wow.
He also scored 14 rushing touchdowns, and there's a few other guys with some rushing touchdowns too. Kareth White had 8 as Derek Carr takes a sack and a loss of, what is that, 7, 8 yards? I think they're going to give him a loss of 8 there.
Chris Jones.
And Chris Jones, yeah. Yeah, go. Sorry about that, partner. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. Another instance of Derek Carr just holding on the ball too long. Didn't really have many options, but you can't sit in the pocket against these guys. They're going to get after you. They're going to get sacked. It's just got to get rid of the ball here.
Yeah, Derek Carr's ability to stay upright and on his feet throughout this game is going to be integral in order for the Raiders to get to pick up this win here and move on to New England next week. Now here's the throw over the middle. Looks like it was almost picked off, but it drops harmlessly to the ground. That was a close one there. A dangerous play from Carr, and the Raiders are going to have to punt after that possession.
Carr's not looking like himself. The drive got off to a good start with White making that nice run, but it just stalls out. That's a credit to Casey's defense.
Kansas City certainly does have that smothering defense. They've caused 36 turnovers in the regular season. So the Chiefs take over for the first time on offense, already with a 7-0 lead. 4 minutes and 5 seconds left to go in the first quarter. They come out in a shotgun formation now. Here's the snap, and they run it to Mostert to the left side. He's going to get the first down, looks like, and more. He makes one guy miss, makes another guy miss, throws the tackler down for a gain of 17 yards there on that rush.
Raiders defense, it is crucial that they take proper angles because if Mostert has a little sliver, he's going to use that jukebox ability, and he's very hard to tackle in the open field. So if they take the angles properly, might not be able to utilize that ability.
Yeah, you're right about that, and I wonder how. I wondered coming into this game how the Chiefs would respond if the Raiders were able to shut Mostert down. But if that play is any indication, it looks like they're not going to be able to. Here he comes again now, running through the hole in the middle, and it looks like he could have got a little more than he did. The gain of 4 yards there. You're not going to scoff at a 4-yard gain on first down, but he could have had about 8, I think, if he would have went left.
Raiders defense has to make some adjustments instantly. Their D-line and their linebackers just getting pushed back. The Chiefs offensive line is getting to the second level and making huge holes already for the leading rusher in the league.
Yeah, you know, they really do need to change something about this game. Raheem Mostert actually led the NFL in rushing, just barely edging out the aforementioned Matt Breida. He's got 1,929 yards, averaging 120.6 per game. So if they can keep him under that number, it's going to force Patrick Mahomes to do what he does, but unfortunately for the Raiders, he does that very well too. Unfortunately for them, he didn't do it well this time. That's a screenplay, and it's picked off in the backfield by Jones. Unfortunately, he dove to make that catch, so he couldn't return it. That would have been a pick 6 if he had been on his feet, but as it stands, the Raiders have the ball at the Chiefs' 28-yard line off of a nice play, an anticipation interception by the cornerback there.
What a play by Byron Jones. That is exactly why Enigma went out and got him during the season. They needed an impact player at corner, and with his acrobat ability to make diving picks and swats, that's why you get him.
Right you are there, CP. Now the Chiefs load up their the right side of their defensive line with 5 men there. Not sure. I mean, apparently they think the Raiders are going to run to that side, and they do, but Jacobs makes the first guy miss, and he manages to get 3 yards out of it there. And that was an interesting decision to keep running that play. I'm not sure that I would have made that choice. If you see the line stacked up to the side that you're running, how likely is it that you're going to gain any yards in a situation like that?
You know, it's rare. You know, a huge box. Probably should have went to the pass there, but The Raiders are very committed to the run game, and they're going to get Jacobs his touches.
Yeah, well, right you are about that. Jacobs gets another touch here. It's a handoff for a gain of 2. Tried to go to the left side, but there was no room there. But he keeps those big, strong tree trunks of legs moving. Sets him up on a nice 3rd and 4 here.
Comes to me, it's me. Mike. 734. 53. Mike. Go.
Carr makes some adjustments at the line. Here's the snap. Drops back, surveying the field, throws over the middle and complete to Waller to the 1-yard line.
Come on, baby, let's go. Get excited. Let's go.
A real nice play there by the Raiders.
Chiefs played cover 6 right there, so that leaves a huge hole in the middle of the field. I believe there was an adjustment that play from John Brown that was able to throw off the linebackers and free Waller open down the middle.
John Brown with his first catch of the day. Meanwhile, the Raiders try to run it to the right side.
They went speed there. You know, White is faster than Jacobs. They went speed to try to get maybe to the corner, hit the hole faster.
Right.
I think you just use your stud here.
Yeah, didn't quite work out. Of course, the user for the Chiefs is extremely good at this game, and he makes another play there. Incomplete pass. So it's going to set up 3rd down now from the 2-yard line.
The Raiders want any shot to keep up with the Chiefs' high-powered offense. They have to get a touchdown here. Settling for 3 is great because they get points, but you need to match touchdowns with touchdowns.
You definitely don't want to give them the ball down again. You gave them a gift. They took advantage of it. They gave you a gift back, and you want to take full advantage of it as well here. They send a man in motion out to the right side. Thrown over the middle, and it's complete for the touchdown. That's Darren Waller. A nice little play there for the Raiders. A perfect play call. Got exactly what they needed and nothing more, nothing less. And now, pending this extra point, which is up and good, the Raiders tie the Chiefs with 52 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
It's exactly what you want to do with turnovers. When you get a turnover, when you get a gift, you want to take advantage of it, and none other than the matchup nightmare himself, Darren Waller.
You're absolutely right about that, and he is a matchup nightmare, too, playing at tight end. He's a huge monster of a man, and you get a linebacker covering him. You may match him in size, but he certainly won't be able to match him in speed.
No, absolutely not. And he played wide receiver at Georgia Tech, and you see his receiving skills on display every time he runs around and catches the football.
Chiefs line up in the Wildcat here. Mostert fakes the handoff and tries to run up the middle for no gain. Looks like they're giving him 1 yard there.
One of the Chiefs' favorite formations is the Wildcat. They've utilized it a lot. Kind of like Tony Sperano and the Dolphins back in the day when we thought it was going to take the league by storm, and it just absolutely flamed out. But the Chiefs have revived it a little bit this year, so kind of nice to see a little relic thrown in once in a while.
Well, it certainly is, and these Chiefs are very good at controlling the line of scrimmage. So when you can do that, you can get a little bit more creative with your run plays and maybe try and get the second level of defenders off guard as well as the defensive line. Now here's a snap to Mahomes. He throws, and it's just a missed pass. He tried to fire it in there over the middle for Hill, but he just led him a little bit too far, which is hard to do. He's one of the fastest men on the planet. But, I guess Patrick Mahomes has a pretty strong arm, too. So
you don't see that often from Mahomes. He will have his errant throws from time to time, but a little short gimme throw like that, he's usually right on point almost every single time. So a little uncharacteristic from Mr. Mahomes right there.
So what you're saying is we probably won't see him do that again today.
Probably not.
Here's the throw now to Hill over the middle, and it is incomplete. The defender there, I didn't quite see the number. I think it was 25.
Eric Harris.
Maybe Eric Harris. Yeah, that's who I thought it was. Eric Harris met him perfectly, timed that hit perfectly. And so the Raiders get the ball back. Now here's a pretty decent return, about 10 yards on the return. And they're going to take the ball over at their own 30-yard line with 4 seconds left to go in the first.
This is a big drive for Oakland here. They got their stop, they got their score, and they got their stop. So if they can build some more momentum by even getting a field goal here, get themselves out and get themselves a lead, it's not going to happen.
Absolutely, yeah. A lead after this drive would be huge. After the first quarter, by the way, the score is tied 7-7 here. So a good, nice installment of this rivalry. It's a classic rivalry. Everybody knows about it. And it's good to see these two teams living up to the expectation, at least of a close game so far, that we have set. It's going to be 2nd and 8 now here from the 32. Derek Carr takes the snap and drops back. He's got pressure from the left side. He gets hit, and he's down at the 21-yard line. A loss of 11 yards there on that play.
The Raiders wide receivers are not really creating great separation, and the routes they're running against this coverage really just inopportune. You know, the play, you call a play and you think it's designed to beat this coverage, but they come out in something totally different, and it's making Carr hold on to the ball, which, as we've seen, is just not a recipe for success.
You really can't afford to hang on to the ball against this offensive line. They've got a lot of, or defensive line rather. They've got a lot of sacks, and it's just not a recipe for success if you're an offense getting sacked a lot. That, however, was a nice play. It was a nice sideline strike down the field, about 27 yards to Zay Jones there.
Beautiful throw there by Carr. You know, he saw the coverage and he let the play develop a little bit because he had a 3-man rush. So offensive lines, when you get a 3-man rush, you usually get more time. So right there, he was able to stay poised in the pocket and deliver an absolute strike down the sideline.
And that'll definitely let them feel a little bit better about their game today, as Jacobs is stopped behind the line for a loss. Well, it doesn't make the Raiders feel a little bit better to get that big playoff, though, because they know that they can make this defense bleed. And also, when you get bailed out of a mistake like that, it's definitely a big pick-me-up. So now here's Jacobs running up the middle, gets to about midfield. They'll set him up with a 3rd and 8.
Again, you know, like we said earlier, trying to establish themselves on the ground, and, you know, Jacobs, it might pop. You know, if you keep going to it, sooner or later they're going to get going. So see if the KC lets that happen.
It's a shotgun formation for the Raiders now here on 3rd down. White changes sides, moves to the line. Carr gets the snap, looks over the middle and throws, intercepted by Thornhill, and he's going to try and return this one for a few yards. Doesn't quite get very far, but that doesn't matter. The Chiefs have the ball back at their own 35.
Carr just let it fly. You know, sometimes one gets away from you, and we see it with Derek Carr often. When he gets excited, when he sees somebody, he can let it sail on him a little bit, and Thornhill just right place, right time for that interception.
I think a lot of the time what happens with Derek Carr is that he sees the blitz coming in and assumes somebody's going to be open. And that time it wasn't the case. However, the Chiefs just go get a 1st down right there on 1st down. A gain of about 11 yards there on the flat.
All these guys on offense can fly. So they're either going to beat you deep or they're going to get the ball short and just try to make you miss and run by you. It's important that the Raiders just swarm every time that they can.
You know, they are an extremely fast offense. And here's a fumble now by Mostert, recovered by Jones. And my goodness, what a turn of events there. Didn't quite see what happened. Looks like maybe it just got ripped out of his hands.
I don't know, Ace. I think his elbow might have been down. Ground might have caused that fumble.
Well, it looks like we're going to have some sort of review, perhaps. You can't
They're
really...
talking to Revo on the headset right now, the replay booth, and they're telling him to challenge that play.
Well, they're gonna review it, and it's overturned. Okay, so yeah, it looks like he was down. So the Chiefs hang on to the ball there, and I kind of thought so too live. I thought he was already down. I was surprised to see the play continue. But every turnover is automatically reviewed, and so the booth did their job and made the right call. So instead of 1st and 10 for the Raiders, it's actually going to be 2nd and 10 for Kansas City.
KC does get a huge break there. You know, a turnover in that area of the field could have been disastrous. So I bet they're happy they're keeping the ball, at least for now.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, right here at midfield, giving the Raiders a short field to work with is never ideal for anybody playing against them. Now here's Hardman breaking a tackle, making a guy miss and running for the 1st down. He was going to be stopped after about 4 yards. He just keeps his balance and runs for another 7.
You know, another thing, like we said earlier, they're fast. And when they drafted this guy out of Texas Tech, all his highlight tape in college was him flying by people. You put him in an offense with a quarterback like Mahomes who can sling it, you watch out, because if you fall asleep, they'll be high-fiving in the end zone.
Well, they are incredibly diverse as well as their speed. Now here's Mostert running to the right side, got some room, Gets to about the 12-yard line, the 10, it looks like they're going to mark him down. So a nice piece of running there by the league-leading rusher. And it's like 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line. Anyway, I was saying the Chiefs are a very diverse offense. They're very fast. They've had 5 players with over 300 receiving yards this year. And Mostert runs for a 7-yard gain. They've had 5 players receiving over 300 yards. And they've also got 7 different players that have caught for a touchdown this year. So they know how to spread the ball out, no doubt.
Yeah, spreading the ball out. That's exactly what they do.
Here's Mostert now running to the left side. He is not across the pylon there. And he's going to be called down short of the first down marker as well, so it'll be 3rd and inches from the 1-yard line.
That is about as close as you can get. If the Raiders can pull out a stop here, that would be considered a win, considering how just easy Kansas City has moved the ball in there.
It absolutely would be. It would be very moralizing. However, they don't get the job done. The Chiefs run it right up the middle, and they score the touchdown there. So a nice play. Who was that? LaShawn McCoy?
That was Damian Williams, I believe.
Damian Williams, you're right. Yep, that's who it was. Yes, it was. Damian Williams. So it was Damian Williams for the touchdown. And the Raiders go down 7-14. Let's see if they can respond here with a nice kick return. Got across the 25-yard line. We'll see what they can do here with the ball this time on offense. They got to avoid the turnovers, though. Wouldn't you say would that be the most important thing, or do you think they have to maybe take a chance here and make sure that they don't give the ball back at halftime down?
You do want to limit turnovers, but at the same time, you have to go down and score. You can't just take the foot off the gas. You have to go score. So take your chances. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Here we go. Jacobs now running up the middle. He runs away from a defender. That's Tyrann Mathieu. Almost had him within his grasp. He just ran away from him. Got a few extra yards there. And the Raiders will take it all the way out to the Chiefs' 46. So just like that, they're moving the ball pretty well here on the first play. Let's see if they try to get this play off before the 2-minute warning. They do. Here's the snap now. Carr drops back, 7-step drop. He drops back some more. Throws it over the middle, off balance, and that is a bad decision, but he gets bailed out there. Thought it was going to be picked off for sure. When you see a quarterback make that kind of throw, it's typically not what the coach wants to see, and you can see him right now. He's pulling his hair out on the sideline.
You never want to do that as a quarterback. I didn't see a rush. Derek Carr just started throwing back, and it's best to just throw that ball away. But Kansas City ate the popcorn before the game and weren't able to catch that ball.
That certainly was an interesting footwork there by Derek Carr, but as you said, just some butterfingers there on the defensive sideline, and as they always say, maybe that's why they're playing defense. That, though, was a nice catch by Breland. He's going to take this thing back across the 50-yard line to the 40, to the 35, and he gets pushed out of bounds at the 34-yard line. A flag is on the field, though, and it's going to be against the Raiders.
Illegal block in the back?
An illegal block in the back.
Okay, interesting.
Interception, baby, all day.
Yeah. I didn't see the play, but it looks like I didn't see the penalty rather, but it looks like this is going to stand. So the Chiefs are going to have the ball at their own 33.
Their own 33.
That's an interesting. How did that happen?
Can we get our rules analyst in here, Al Riveron? Where you at, pal? I think the Chiefs might have just accepted the penalty and they may have made a mistake.
So what happened was the Chiefs accepted the penalty. And so instead of the play ending at the spot of the return, the play actually ended 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So,
I'm sure Revel's kicking himself for that one.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. I guess they just didn't make the consequences really clear to him on the sideline there, and he's definitely going to be upset with the league on that one. Now here's Mostert running on 2nd and 2 for a first down. Gets a nice chunk of yardage there. He's got 77 yards so far on 9 rushes.
Even before Revo came in and took control of the Chiefs, we saw a ton of this with Andy Reid, just RPOs. What are we going to do? Are we going to run the ball? Or are we going to pass the ball? And it gives the quarterback the option to make that decision. And as you can see, it's kind of killing the Raiders right now.
We'll see if they can make an adjustment at halftime. It's got 50 seconds until that happens. Mostert tries to take it over the right side, gets nowhere. Pretty hard hit there, too, by
big hit by Carl Joseph. Coming out of West Virginia, that's what he was known for. He's going to come over. He's going to bang.
Yeah, and bang he does. That's one thing that's definitely true. He's been doing it since his college days.
He will come and bang you, for sure.
Yeah, now here's McCoy now holding the ball in one hand, making guys miss with the spin move, and he is going to get in for the touchdown. So LaShawn McCoy showing us some of that old shady magic.
Ooh, shady.
We haven't seen that in a while from LaShawn McCoy, and that was an always exciting run to see him break one free like that. And now the Chiefs are going to take a 2-score lead into halftime unless the Raiders can make something happen here in the next 22 seconds.
What an amazing display of skill, stick work there by Revo. Knowing to spin there, and LaShawn McCoy just what a dazzling run for an old man.
That was a beautiful run. LaShawn McCoy is not known to do that so much lately, but man, it's always fun to see him do what he does best. And when you got a skilled man on the sticks like Revo, you just
he's all right.
Well, apparently he's a little bit better than all right, but he's looking pretty good so far today.
AFC has a ton of talent, and these playoffs, and just in general, we can't wait for the games next week. But right now, we're enjoying a show.
We absolutely are enjoying it, and it's a shame this half's got to come to an end. I wonder what the second half is going to have in store for us. Raiders come out here in a wildcat formation with White in the shotgun. Looks like he doesn't hand it off, actually. He faked it. Tried to run it up the middle, and there was nowhere for him to go.
It's like the Raiders, they don't want to play it conservative. They want to go and they want to score. Doing it by the ground might catch the Chiefs off balance. You don't want to throw the ball here because if it's a pick or there's a sack turnover, it could be disastrous.
Well, we'll see what they do here, if they try to catch him off guard with a run again or if they want to throw another pass. There's 15 seconds left in the first half. Carr barks out some orders. Here's the snap, and they are going to pass. A nice little cut block there. And it's deep to Gafford. He goes up, and it is incomplete, but thought he had a chance there. Did Rico Gafford.
If you are going to take a shot, that's the place to do it. Throwing a deep ball, it acts like a punt. You obviously run the risk of like an amazing return, but taking a deep shot is not a bad idea.
Right, yeah. It effectively would be a punt and allow Rito to sit on the lead there and take it into the second half. As it stands now, it's 3rd and 9 for the Raiders. Carr's out of the shotgun, takes the snap, drops back into the pocket, tries to throw, and he doesn't quite get it off. And the Chiefs are going to call a timeout and make the Raiders punt here with 1 second left. Or are they going to?
I think that was the Raiders calling the timeout. I think they want to just chuck one up.
Oh, it looks like it was the Raiders calling the timeout, yeah. So the Raiders actually called that timeout. It was our second timeout of the half. I guess it doesn't really matter if they throw a pick here or not. Just as long as it doesn't go back for a touchdown. Here's a handoff now to White Jr. And it looked like he may have been able to break something. He would have had to have a lot happen for him, though. It didn't quite work out. So at halftime, the score is going to be 21-7 Chiefs, and they're showing right now why they're hosting this game and why they won this division. The kick goes off the side of the uprights, and so we're going to start the second half off from the 25-yard line.
See what the Raiders do. The halftime adjustments to slow down this Kansas City offense, but also on their end to score some points. You got to score with these guys. If they get out to a big lead, they just let those pass rushers on that Chiefs D-line pin their ears back and get after Derek Carr, which they've done pretty well so far.
You're absolutely right about that. Here's the snap now. Play action. Mahomes rolls out to the right side and throws it away. These two teams are division rivals, so they played twice so far during the year. Both games saw the Chiefs walk away victorious. But the games themselves were actually completely different. In the first game, week 2, the Chiefs won 34-20. Patrick Mahomes threw 5 passes. He had 5 passing attempts.
5.
3 of them were good for touchdowns, and 1 of them was a pick. He had 1 incomplete pass there. And Mahomes goes down, and he actually fumbles the ball. Picks, gets up. Looks like he managed to. Did he? They turned it over.
That's Raiders' ball.
The Raiders got the ball. They gave it to Max Crosby, and it looks like the Raiders are going to start out from their first drive in the second half from the 9-yard line. I thought that Mahomes fell onto it, but it looks like who was that? Cleveland Farrell picking it up?
That was Cleveland, yeah. Cleveland Farrell, the 2 rookies.
So the two Raiders rookies combined for a forced fumble turnover, and they got 9 yards to go before they're only down by 7. Jacobs runs it to the right side and gets 2 yards, and they're stopped there by the Chiefs' defense.
Just a quick touch on those guys. You know, Cleveland and Max, they had 23 sacks together as a tandem, so pretty good rookie production out of the Raiders pass rushers.
They're certainly going to look for that to continue on throughout the years. Now here's a play action. Carr rolling left, and he is going to run for the end zone. He tries to make a juke there, and he doesn't quite get in. He gets to the 1-yard line. A nice little run there by the quarterback, though, and a nice show of toughness to take the hit and not drop the ball.
You know, in Derek Carr's career, running to the end zone hasn't been a strong suit. He's fumbled out of the back of the end zone for a few touchbacks in some key moments.
We've seen it happen certainly multiple times, but it is good to see that he hasn't been discouraged to do that. You got to play your game. Here's Jacobs now to the right side, makes a cut and scores a touchdown. And just like that, the Raiders make a statement. They are not done yet this year. And pending this kick, which is up and good, the Raiders now bring the deficit down to 7 points, 21-14 Chiefs.
Strap on your seatbelts, folks. We're going to be in for a wild one. We feel the momentum in this stadium. Just crowd has gotten a little quiet. Momentum is riding high over on Oakland and on their sideline. They feel like they can come out and win this game.
Oakland certainly does seem to be feeling it. Fortunately for the Chiefs, I was talking about that game in week 2. I got interrupted by the rude defensive play. I can't believe he would do such a thing, but Mahomes had 5 passing attempts, 3 touchdowns. All 3 of those touchdowns went to Tyreek Hill. So if they can get him, and those were the 3 catches that he had were all touchdowns. So Tyreek Hill he's not the type of guy that necessarily needs to be involved throughout the game to make an impact. He can be involved on 3 plays and make a huge impact on the game. We'll see if they try and exploit the speed on the offense, or the speed matchup, I guess I should say, between them and the Raiders defense. Now here's Mostert lining up in the Wildcat formation, fakes the handoff, runs up the middle, and he's stopped after a yard.
You know, Tyreek Hill so far in this game has been balled up. The Raiders have done an excellent job with direct coverage. You know, when he's running a route, he has one guy underneath and one guy over top, especially over top. So, you know, we know how fast Tyreek Hill is. If you put him in a race with Usain Bolt, I don't know who's going to win.
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right there. We do know that, and we also know that if Tyreek Hill gets bottled up, they do have a lot of other matchups to go to, or they do a lot of other options to go to, as Mahomes takes the snap, throws it over the middle to Hill. Speaking of the devil, they do have other matchups, though. The other game against the Raiders in Week 13, there were 3 different receivers that scored touchdowns. And Mahomes went 15 for 22 with 302 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. And that was a big win for them, 42-31 as well.
You know, we haven't seen much of Mahomes really dissecting the defense and his big weapon.
No, we haven't, but here's a shovel pass, looks like, to Hardman. And Hardman got 1 yard there, or 2 yards there, rather, on that shovel pass. You don't see the shovel pass very often called in the game anymore, but when you see it and it works, it's a thing of beauty. That time, there was something left to be desired.
Beautiful job there by the Raiders' ends and force and cutback guys. Staying home and playing the edge, setting the edge, to not let Hardman get around the corner and make a big play.
2nd and 8 now. Mahomes looks left, throws the ball, and it is picked off again by the Raiders. I'm not sure who it is, but a big play nonetheless on the sideline there, and the Raiders... Looks like, yeah, who was it? He said Xavier Rhodes, it looks like. I'm getting word. And
another trade that was made by Enigma this year to help strengthen the secondary, and it's paying off so far. Big plays by both corners.
absolutely, and that was huge. That's a huge play at this point in the game. It's halfway through the third quarter, almost. The Raiders came into this half down by 2 scores, and now they're looking to tie it up at the end of this one here. Now here's Gafford, and he runs right into the hit stick. Man, he got on those train tracks, and that train hit him hard. A hard-earned gain of 2 yards there by Gafford.
The Rico Gafford, he can fly, so getting him on the edge is ideal. You know, he's Tyreek Hill, Hardman-esque in terms of speed. Chiefs did an excellent job bottling it there.
Here's Jacobs now running to the left side for a gain of 2. Setting the Raiders up with a 3rd and 6. So the Raiders line up here now in a shotgun formation. They send the halfback out wide, so that the backfield is empty. Here's the snap now by Carr, thrown over the middle to Waller, and he makes a catch completed to the 27-yard line.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
Shrugs off. It's free safety. Waller's too big. You know, it's hard to get him down with one guy.
Waller is a huge monster of a man. He also has scored 10 touchdowns for the Raiders so far this year. And they also have 3 other receivers with at least 7. So the air attack is definitely the way they're going to want to go, even though Josh Jacobs here runs up the middle. The air attack has been a huge play, or a huge part of their season. Waller takes a hold on that play, so it's going to be 1st and 19 for some reason.
You know, when they run the ball, they get off and they come to hit you. The Raiders do. The Raiders offensive line. And sometimes they get a little handsy. You know, they're aggressive and try to get off the ball. Sometimes it leads to penalties like that, which could be drive killers.
Yeah, they absolutely can. We'll see how the Raiders respond to this little hardship here. It's the first hardship of the half for them. But luckily for them, it's still 1st down, so they still have some time to make up for those plays. Now, Derek Carr looks like he's changing the play at the line. It's shotgun formation, empty backfield yet again. Here comes a free rusher off the left edge. Clark gets right to him, and Derek had no chance there, really. It's a loss of 10 yards, and now it's going to be 2nd and 29.
Not sure what Trent Brown was doing there. I think they wanted to make an adjustment to make sure they double Chris Jones, but maybe a miscommunication on the offensive line just let Frank Clark have a free shot at Derek.
And Frank Clark is not a guy that you want necessarily running free. I mean, you don't want anybody running free off the line, but Frank Clark is a guy who specifically, it's not going to end well for you if he gets his hands on you. Here's the Wildcat formation now. Jacobs hands it off to White Jr. White Jr. makes a cut, but unfortunately goes right into the back of Trent Brown. And so it's going to be an even 3rd and 30 here for the Raiders. So just like you said, that penalty looks like it stalled out this drive a little bit. And we'll see if the Raiders can maybe get themselves into at least field goal position to make it a 4-point game.
Look for them to go to Waller here. He's been their number 1 guy all game, so no reason why that should change right now.
Here's the snap, and looks like Chris Jones gets to him for a 2nd sack of the game. And so the Raiders have lost 10 yards per play pretty much on that series. They got a 4th and 38 here from their own 45. A beautiful punt, though. A beautiful punt, though. And it looks like they're going to mark him out at the 4-yard line, so a brilliant coffin corner there will set the Raiders up with maybe a chance to stuff him and get the ball back, and if they're aggressive and good enough, maybe a chance to score 2 points here.
For the brand, baby.
Yeah, Pat McAfee sure would be happy about that one, wouldn't he? Here's Mostert now bouncing it around to the outside and eliminating any concern of a safety there. Gets it out to the 17-yard line and a 1st down. Anytime you get the opposing offense within their own 5-yard line, you start to smell blood, but the Chiefs did a real good job of stitching it up there. Here's the Wildcat again now. Mostert makes the guy miss, and he runs for a first down and more. Looks like he's getting across midfield to the 50. He's at the 40, the 35-30, the 20, the 10, the 5, and the touchdown. Raheem Mostert breaks a big play from the Wildcat formation, and the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go up by 2 scores again.
The Wildcat has been contained by the Raiders almost all game, but that time, one guy gets out of their assignment. Raheem Mostert makes the moves he's been making all year. You can kiss him goodbye after that.
I've heard in other Madden leagues the Wildcat formation is being banned, but here in the SML it's still free and available for everyone to use, and he uses it to perfection. Now here's Gafford running up the middle, a great return, and he takes it out of the end zone and takes it to the 40-yard line.
Just when you thought the Raiders might be down a little bit, they get a huge play out of Mr. Gafford, who just put his speed on display there. So Raiders, if they want any chance of this game, they need to score right here.
Rico Gafford has been a big weapon for the Raiders this year, too. He scored 8 touchdowns on the year. That's the second most on the team, just short of Waller's 10. The handoff now to Jacobs gets nowhere. So we talk a lot about the Kansas City Chiefs' speed, but the Raiders this year have done a lot to get themselves some speed, too. They went out and got John Brown. They went out and got Rico Gafford, and they also got Zay Jones. All 3 of those guys are fairly quick receivers. I mean, sure, they don't match up to Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman, but they're definitely not slow runners either.
No, absolutely not.
Here's Carr now looking to the left side. He's got a man open, and it's Gafford, but he just gets the play broken up. He looked like it was open. It looked like he was going to hit him, and if he hits him there, and he manages to hold on to it, he's probably in the end zone right now celebrating. But as it is,
nice play by the safety there to get over.
It was a nice play there by the safety. He almost had a pick there, too. So it really could have gone either way.
Raiders are trying to stretch the field with their guys right now. A lot of deep routes. They see something they like.
Yeah, and here they are going deep again over the middle of Keelan Doss. And he doesn't make the catch either. So the third quarter is over. And just like that, the Raiders have 8 minutes to make up 2 scores. It's going to be 14-28, Kansas City in the lead. We'll be back after this break here on Twitch.tv, Ace510. Subscribe. Hit that motherfucking like button. Subscribe.
I need it now. It's my money and I need it now.
It's my money and I need it now.
It's my money and I need it now. It's my money and I need it now.
And we're back here from Kansas City.
Thank you for listening to that message from our sponsors.
Thanks for JG Wentworth is our sponsor. It's your money and you need it now. Call JG Wentworth 877 cash now. So the Raiders here, it looks like they're lining up to maybe go for it on 4th down. It's 4th and 9 from their own 41. And in the playoffs, it's something that you're definitely more likely to see at the beginning of the 4th quarter than it is in anywhere else.
They don't want the Chiefs to get the ball in their hands and score again. So I'm not shocked at this decision.
All right, there's a flag down on the play, but meanwhile, Derek Carr fumbles it. Chris Jones comes in to scoop it up, and he's going to take it into the end zone for the Chiefs. So depending on what this flag is, and it's going to go against the Raiders. So the touchdown is going to count, the penalty is declined, and Kansas City is going to be up by 21 here. And it's up and good. I thought I jinxed Revo again, but I didn't. I thought I did.
Just a backbreaker. You know, going for it on 4th down and turning the ball over. You know, without a turnover, still give your defense a chance to make something happen. But when you get a scoop and score, it just deteriorates and demoralize.
It absolutely does demoralize a team.
Yes.
Absolutely. No doubt about that. And another thing that it does is it really puts the Raiders way behind the 8 ball there. They were already pretty much up against it, and now it's going to be a 21-point deficit they have to come back to. Here's another flag, holding again against the center. So somebody needs to tell that guy to calm down and maybe stop being so aggressive.
You know, we praised the decision to get rid of Rodney Hudson to bring in a corner, which has worked out. But when you get a guy in, that's not an all-pro best center in the league, which is kind of what happens when he goes against the sack leader, Chris Jones.
Right, and he has to make that penalty. Oh, and meanwhile, Tyrann Mathieu comes up with an interception, and he's going across the 10, the 5, and he's in the end zone for a touchdown. So the Chiefs now are starting to run away with this game. Tyrann Mathieu, another defensive score. That's the third one so far of the game.
The train has just gone off tracks here. Oakland, they put up a fight, but if there's any other indication, that one is the dagger.
I mean, certainly the game isn't over yet, but one would have to imagine that they've had trouble moving the ball consistently and scoring on offense today, and it's not going to get easier when the Chiefs are circling the water. They're pretty much about to make the kill here, and so you don't think the Chiefs are going to let the Raiders get out of it. However, they may be able to. It's going to be an interesting way. It's going to be an interesting finish to this game here. Now Jacobs has stopped over the middle, the handoff out of the shotgun formation.
Chris Jones, just play after play after play. He might be the best defensive lineman in the league after Aaron Donald. The man just shows up and dominates week in and week out.
And it's not often that you're talking about a defensive tackle as the best defensive lineman. Usually they'll want to come off the edge, but he's just a huge body. He's able to clog the hole and get to the quarterback consistently. And that's a guy that any of the 32 teams in the NFL would be glad to have him on their team.
You see here the Chiefs just pinning their ears back, getting after Carr, making life just that much more miserable for him.
It's 3rd and 22 now. Carr out of the shotgun, sees a free runner coming off the left edge again, gets rid of the ball quickly, and it's dropped for an incomplete pass. So it's going to be 4th and 22, and the Raiders are not going for it anymore. It looks like they see the writing on the wall as well. So here's a return now by Hill. Got about 7 yards on the return.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
And, Pittsburgh Steelers, looks like you better get ready because this is a tough opponent that you're going to be facing next week.
It is. I got to prep my guys back home in Pittsburgh, for the players that stood out to me today, but we're welcoming the challenge and can't wait for it.
The good news is that it's going to be a home game for you, as you did have the bye week this week, winning the NFC North and going 14-2.
We're going to have terrible towels all over the stadium. And hopefully fans come out in full force, which I know they will, and we make them happy next week.
Those fans over there in Pittsburgh are always real loyal and real good. It's going to be a fun one to go. I assume I'll be there. I haven't gotten my my assignment yet, but I assume that I'll be there as well for that one. So it should be a lot of fun. Maybe the Raiders owner will be commentating it with me there. The little switcheroo there. Chiefs get another first down to Tyreek Hill to the right side.
Shifty.
Yeah, he is shifty, and it's you can see that they're not going for the big play here. However, they are trying to move the ball, and they're still able to do it. Mahomes under center, hands it off to Mostert, and that time they didn't move it anywhere. So the Raiders are finally able to neutralize Mostert. Loss of a yard there. So 2nd and 11 at the 41-yard line. And I am not copying what the stadium announcer's saying. He's just saying what I was going to say already before I could say it. And I'm not copying him, so don't think I was. I was paying attention. Here's the handoff now to Mostert. Runs up the middle for a gain of 2, 3, 5, maybe. 6.
One thing to note, to mention next week is the Chiefs have been the top running team in the league, going against Pittsburgh, who's had the best run defense in the league.
That'll be an interesting matchup to watch. Absolutely. Yeah. I brought it up today coming into this game that if the Raiders could neutralize Mostert, as Davis goes up and grabs a pick here. So the Raiders aren't quite dead yet in the water. A nice play there.
Their way, but hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, you absolutely do, and it's never too early to get some morale for next year as well. So,
nice play there by Davis.
It was a nice play. Nice way to read the route and hop right under there, hop right under that thing. Anyway, as I was saying, though, if the Raiders could have neutralized Mostert today, it would have been interesting to see how the Chiefs respond. Maybe next week the Steelers will give us a look, a taste of what that looks like.
You know, big credit to the Chiefs' defense. They had 3 defensive touchdowns. They've really carried the offense of the Chiefs. You know, they've been okay. They have been able to run the ball. But...
And another interception here for Thornhill. So that'll be his second pick of the day. And the Chiefs get the ball back at their own 36. And I wonder how the teams are going to play this out now. I know that these two guys are good buddies to each other, and there's really no hatred here between at least the two competitors. Maybe the teams themselves hate each other, but the actual competitors, Crazy Enigma and Revo, certainly don't seem to. And I know Revo doesn't want to run the score up here. Mostert takes a 7-yard run to the left side.
Probably just to see them run it out and hang up the cleats and get on a plane and head down to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They'll probably head over on Friday, I want to say, because they're already home, so they're probably gonna practice here. But yeah, it's interesting to see how the Raider fans will react to the Raiders, because they went 4-12 last year, and to go from a 4-12 team to making the wild card round, going 10-6 and making the wild card, I mean that's not a bad progression from the Raiders.
That's a big step up. You know, there's nothing to be ashamed of on the Raiders. You know, there should be plenty of excitement surrounding this team. There's nothing to hang your hats on. The Chiefs came in and played a better game, but you retool, you rebuild, and come back next year, make a better run.
You know, the thing is too, they've already sort of done the rebuild within this year. They've upgraded themselves at a lot of key positions. And Derek Carr has also shown a nice progression throughout the year, too. Like I said, he threw for over 4,000 yards this year. He's got 36 touchdowns, only 24 picks. He also has given up 4 fumbles, but that's not so much of you know, I mean, that's a protection issue, and that's a lot more than just Derek Carr fumbling the ball.
Absolutely. No, I agree 100%. And that's why you retool. You know, clean up maybe a couple positions that you feel need cleaning up, and come back and give the Chiefs a run for their money next year in the AFC West.
Yeah, they certainly can do it. The Chargers were also 1 game away. I broadcast last week's game here between the Chargers and the Chiefs, and if the Chargers had won that game, they would have won this division. So they were right there too. It's really a 3-horse race in that AFC West. Damian Williams now takes it for a couple yards up the middle. It's going to be 3rd and 3 now from the Raiders' 45. Chiefs with a 28-point lead. Letting the clock bleed down as much as they can. Williams runs it across the line for a first down. So we'll probably see one more snap here, and that should about do it for this game. A really dominating performance by the Chiefs. Not entirely surprising, as they did go 11-5. They won the division, like I said, for a reason. And they kneel it out here, and that should do it. The teams are going to start walking on the field. And the coaches are going to start shaking.
Enigma.
Yep, here they go. To shake hands. And a good game. Words of congratulations from one head coach to the other. As the final score here from Kansas City is the Chiefs 42 and the Raiders 14.
Just a dominating performance by the Chiefs defense. You know, they held the Raiders' 8th overall offense in check for pretty much the whole game, and I don't believe the score is any indication how close this game was. You know, they did run away with it in the 4th quarter. The game was tight throughout. You know, just the better team was able to prevail and end up coming away victorious.
Well, the Raiders had 92 rushing yards, only 22 passing yards. Neither one of those numbers are good. If you get held under 100 yards on either side or on either facet of offense, typically you're not going to come away with a win. And when you get held under 50, it's just really not pretty. So a great defensive performance today by the Chiefs. They also had 3 defensive scores. And it just wasn't a great game for Derek Carr. It's going to be one that he's going to want to forget, no doubt. But the final score here from Kansas City is the Chiefs. I forgot what 42.
42.
Yeah, 42. The Chiefs 42, and the Raiders 14. For Ace, I'm Ace 510. For CP, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me here on Twitch. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe.
I'm CP.